So, good morning. My name is Gabriella Pattavina, and I'm here to talk to you about how you can turn your passion into action and how you can give back. So, when I was 10 years old, my grandma Connie passed away. She was always dancing, was always cooking, was always the best dressed in the room. But this would not be obvious for someone that knew her, because she never let whatever that she was fighting get in the way of her lifestyle. She was never intercepted. She was fighting stage 4 lung cancer for a majority of the time that I was alive. And I barely knew this up until the day she passed away, which was Wednesday, September 1st, 2010. 2 months later, my family lost another member of our pack, my Uncle Dave, who passed away of stage 4 pancreatic cancer. He left behind my little cousin Jenna, who's 4 and is now 11, and my little cousin Andrew, who is 7 and is now 15. It's scary to say, but there are so many things that have been left behind after their lives have been lost. There were empty holes that were left in our hearts, but we found something to fill them. Whether it be the Relay for Life that we started in that began in 2011 with my father, and we walked in honor of them. We fought back in honor of them. We donated and volunteered in honor of them. They became my motivation and my purpose to fight back against cancer. And that's the funny thing. We all have so many different motivations. We have motivations that are things that we do to act or behave in a particular way. What is your motivation to act or behave in a particular way? What motivates you to volunteer? What motivates you to give back to your community? Well, that's the thing. So many of us, adults, teenagers, and people here at Berlin High School have different motivations to volunteer and to give back to their community. So, according to CNN, the lowest volunteer rate is found amongst adults, and that is within ages 21 through 44. Only 28.9% of adults volunteer on a monthly basis. This statistic is not only scary, but it is unconventional, because what is their motivation behind what they're doing? They're volunteering because they get local discounts, they get tax deductibles, they are doing it because their boss is saying, go and do it, it will look good to our business. They're not doing it because they want to. They're doing it because they have to. They don't have a purpose that is fueling their fire. They're not doing it because it means something to them. We can also take a look at high school and college students. There's a decline all across America for volunteering with a passion. As noted by the Department of Education, Justin Reimer, 50% of high school students volunteer because it is a graduation requirement. They don't do it because it's something that inspires them, that it doesn't mean something to them. They're doing it because it is something that in order to walk across the stage and get a diploma, that they need 20 community service hours, and that is not okay. There's such a common stigma that surrounds volunteering on a day-to-day basis that it's only good for boosting your morale and building professional development and building your college application. And I found this stigma within Berlin High School students. I conducted a survey and I sent it out through Interact and Upbeat, which are 2 major service clubs here at the high school. And I simply asked one question: why do you volunteer? And these were the results. They said that they volunteer for all of these reasons. 84.6% of Berlin High School students that answered said they do it to build their resume. 75% of these students said they do it to boost their college application. 53.8% of students say they do it to meet NHS requirements. And only 2%, which can be seen at the bottom here, said they do it to make others smile. To give all they can to others, to help others, or to be a kind person. There is no inner motivation. They're just doing it because they feel it's a requirement. There's nothing greater than them that they're doing it for. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. And that is the issue. There is no spirit. There is nothing that is motivating them that is greater than themselves. They're just doing it because they're gaining something from it. They're gaining a reward. And that's another thing. We all have purposes, right? We all have something driving us. There are so many purposes for so many different things. Just like we have motivations, we have a purpose for what we do. And out there are so many different purpose-driven organizations that make up our community and our nation. And what are these purpose-driven organizations doing differently that make such a huge impact on their community? How are they impacting our community and the nation as a whole that is helping them to not only give back effectively, but find volunteers that actually care? Well, let's take a look. So let's start with the Ryan T. Lee Foundation, a local organization that began after Ryan Lee, who was a student here at Berlin High School, passed away in a tragic accident. He passed away, and What his family did was miraculous. It was inspiring. They did everything that Ryan lived by, and they took it and they gave back to the community. Berlin High School Athletics, the New Britain Boys and Girls Club, the Berlin High School the Berlin Food Pantry. All the things that Ryan cared so much about, all the things that Ryan lived by, they did and they gave back to in honor of him. This was their motivation. This was their purpose. Another story, the Susan G. Komen Foundation, that began after Nancy G. Brinker promised her dying sister that she would do everything in her power to end breast cancer forever. What began in 1982 with $200 in a shoebox has evolved into a global movement that has made such an impact. It's so striking, it's so contagious. This was her purpose. Nancy G. Brinker today has raised over millions of dollars on the impact of breast cancer and has changed the lives of millions of people. And finally, Team Rubicon, which began after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake shook Port-au-Prince in Haiti. Troubled by the scenes in Port-au-Prince, two Marines, Jake Wood and William McNulty, decided to act. When they were deployed in the Marines, they served in Haiti, and they decided this was our home for 3 years. What can we do to give back? So what they did is they gathered supplies, they gathered volunteers and small groups of medical professionals, and they went. And they made action. They noticed that there wasn't enough aid being provided. The American Red Cross hadn't even been there a few days after the earthquake. They were some of the first responders that ever went. They took something that they cared about and they acted. They took their motivation and decided to create something beautiful. They created a purpose-driven organization. They took what they cared so much about, something that wasn't a reward, and they grew from it. They created something that was from their heart and something that they truly cared about. It wasn't something that was because they were gaining a college application or because they were gaining money from it. They were doing something because it meant something to them. They turned their passion into action. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. What I did is that I turned my passion into action. As I mentioned before, my grandma Connie passed away from cancer. My uncle Dave passed away from cancer. But cancer is going to affect my life for the rest of my life because cancer runs in my family. I one day have a high risk at being diagnosed with cancer. It's a scary sight, but it's in the future. So what I do on a day-to-day basis is not only do I pray, but I live each day out. And from there, I decided to reach out to Miss Downey, who's here, and Mr. Rudy, and I said, what can I do? How can I fight back against cancer, but not for me, but for teenagers, for kids that I know? So they said, Ava Dubuck, who is a sophomore here at Berlin High School, and so what I did is I reached out to her mom through Facebook, and I said, what can I do? Even though she's beat cancer, she is still undergoing that fight. She's still in remission. There's still a possibility of everything coming back to her. So I reached out to her mom, who is still involved at the Connecticut Children's Medical Center in the donation unit. And I said, what can I do? What do you guys need for supplies? And she gave me a long list of supplies, blankets, gas gift cards, Netflix gift cards, everything you could ever possibly imagine that could make someone's hospital stay a little bit more comfortable. That's what we collected. I posted it on Facebook, and within a month I had over 100 likes and over 50 comments from family, friends, Berlin High School students, and community members that helped me to create something that was honestly the highlight of my high school career. And with that, I raised over $300 through a GoFundMe, which was over my $250 goal, and I received over 20 donations from Berlin High School students, families, and my own family. With that, I was able to collect all of the things that are behind you: blankets, stuffed animals, board games, puzzles, crayons, colored pencils, and things that all kids and families need to make their hospital stay a lot less grueling and a little more comfortable. And that's what I did. I turned my passion into action, and from there, I was able to collect and bring 20 baskets to the Connecticut Children's Medical Center that were filled with things that honestly probably may not cure their cancer, but it will make their fight against cancer a little more possible. And that's how I turned my passion into action. You can do the same, whether it be the environment, caring about animals, or doing something like that. Reach out, go grab a few friends, go to the beach and clean up the beach. Don't just post about it on your Instagram story. If you care about animals, don't just post about it on your Instagram story. Call the Humane Society and see what you can do to help. Give your time. Don't just give your money away. Give your time to something you care about. Give your money to something that has affected your life, and turn your passion into action. Thank you.